All right, let's go to this conversation now. The number of municipalities with clean audits has improved in the 2023-24 financial year compared to the previous financial years, right? 41 municipalities, that is 16% at the same time, receiving clean audits in the 2023-24 financial year. But the latest report by the AG, that is Tsakani Maluleke, speaking on the audit outcomes of the financial year, and this focuses on the year that ended on the 30th of June last year. Let's speak to Dr. Peter Goss, PhD, corporate governance expert, to talk to us about this matter. Where do we even begin?
I don't know where's the good news. You can't say 34 to 41 is good news out of 257. So 1 in 6 have this concept that the AG will follow then in a 5-tiered approach to auditing that says the worst level of an audit is a disclaimer. In other words, your financial statements can't even be produced in adverse, then qualified, then unqualified, and then this clean. But this is not important, these 5 things. What's important is the meaning of these results. And the meaning of these results, which are the results of the audit of the financial statements, the results of an audit of information about performance and service delivery, and the third leg, the results about compliance with laws and regulations relating to the governance of financial matters. If only 1 in 6 can achieve, I don't want to say an A, the right score, because it's not an A. A clean audit is what an audit should be all of the time. So we need a fundamental shift, I think. These 5 tiers are for mature environments. They're not for immature environments. Because now you can say, no, I got 40%. But, or I got 70%, or I got 80%, and now I got clean. That's not the system we need right now. At the core, without dissecting the numbers, I think we have a fundamental issue. Dirt in good governance, not good governance as in a literal sense. What is good governance? It is the system by which an organization is controlled and directed to achieve its purpose through a strategic plan of sorts, meeting its resource requirements and delivering on what it was created for. And you know who does that? A governing body. And for a municipality, you know who does that? A municipal council. So we can break this down 1,000 different ways. But if municipal councils aren't competent to do their work,
and they're failing in fiscal discipline,
more than just fiscal discipline, in the wider concept of good governance, because your audit report is more than about fiscal discipline. It is also about performing. Service delivery is more than fiscal discipline.
Do they even know what they're doing?
I'd like to submit few do. You don't have a shortage of structures in a local government. You don't have a shortage of oversight structures. You don't have a shortage of executors. You have competency shortcomings. You have, in many places, capacity shortcomings, manpower shortcomings. But structurally, for good governance terms, you have a municipal council, a governing body. You have a municipal public accounts committee to oversee the work of that municipality. You have an audit committee. You have competency FOs in some places. You have municipal managers. You've got a mayoral committee, another governance structure. So structurally, the governance isn't working. So one can cut these numbers 1,000 ways and see more and more flaws and blame consultants for not helping them fix things up. That's the least you should be worried about. It's time to aim this solution to where it starts. The governing body, which is the council, the mayoral committee, mayors, and those oversight structures, municipal public accounts committees and audit committees. Now, nowhere do we talk about their accountability and smack them. Nobody gets smacked at that level. So accountability at the top is the accountability we should be focusing on now. Good news is that we have this material irregularity framework established by the Public Audit Amendment Act. I happen to sit in the first Auditor-General's Advisory Committee on Material Irregularities, and it set over a matter at some point in time. So the good news is there, but I'm not so sure that auditors are supposed to be punishing people. Those accountable must punish people. Auditors come after the fact.
And especially because when you listen to the Auditor-General and speaking to her last night, she raises the alarm about the fact that where is a mayor, where is a municipal manager, but at the same time, where's the provincial government? Because she raised something very concerning for us last night, that in some instances you find a provincial government gives caution to a municipality and says be careful around some of these areas, but then the municipality simply ignoring that. And one wonders then, where are the wheels coming off if a municipality can even ignore the provincial government?
So there is a voice going around that local government shouldn't be in its current form, local, provincial and national government. Provincial government is not quite in charge of municipalities. Mayoral committees, councils are in charge of municipalities. So you've got to understand this is hybrid governance oversight system. So a province can't fire a council. A council has an autonomy. A province can't fire a mayor. Council fires a mayor. So one needs to understand that the governance design also needs to be overhauled. For too long, I've been giving these commentaries for over 20 years, and I've tried to change my commentary now and speak to what the real issue is.
Are you able to change it though?
Well, I hope that this tone of the real issue is at the leadership level, and we should start smacking people at the leadership level. And the competency at the leadership level is where our real challenge is. If you're elected to office, you're often not elected based on technical competency. So we need a major overhaul in how and who gets elected.
What does that overhaul look like, especially your last point, in how and who gets elected? What do we need to put in place as safeguarding mechanisms?
So we need not be elitist and say people with university degrees should be in office, for example. It's ideal and idealistic. But what can certainly be in place is the induction and development of these people when they take office needs to be really rigorous. A person can be on a mayoral council and never have been trained in financial governance and never have read a book on business management or the management of service delivery in the public sector. And I would submit to you that more than half of them are unqualified to do what they do. They hold political office. And yet this is the governing body that must steer, direct, achieve the purpose and deliver services to people.
And when you then look at this, right, because we can talk about everything else, but it also impacts the residents. And what is the real impact that we see, particularly for, you know, when you hear what the AG says is that they don't have adequate systems, processes and controls, they're not able to collate. Record, measure, as well as reporting on their performance is also a problem. You have processes that are manual. You have quite a lot going on there. So what becomes the impact on the residents?
No services, no water, no refuse collection, because you don't pay suppliers on time, amongst the myriad of examples. Revenue runs out because it goes to the wrong places. You have unauthorized, irregular, fruitless waste and wasteful expenditure because you react to things. You don't act, you react, and therefore you break the law when you react. So we have seriously a dearth in leadership in these environments. We've got to stop blaming the staff and stop blaming those on the ground. We've got to start blaming those where the buck must fall.
And you speak about the staff, right? One would even ask the question, do they have adequate support to be able to do
No, I don't believe that local government staff have adequate support. Because when you have political turmoil and you have municipalities shifting month in and month out with coalitions and the like, and uncertainty, then you're going to have the situation. One of the solutions to these audit outcomes, every single municipality will have an audit action plan, an obligatory audit action plan to pursue the recommendations of the AG and the findings of the AG. So year on year, they keep pursuing this audit action plan. Well, if nobody's holding people to account and monitoring that audit action plan, who's nobody? Nobody is the leadership. So these audit action plans aren't coming through as agenda items on municipal council meetings. They're being reduced to impact level and audit committee levels.
And you speak about an audit action plan, right? I suppose then, just as I let you go, when you look at a municipality, for example, like Umshwati, I was looking at their progress over time. They have improved from a qualified audit opinion with findings in 2020-21 to an unqualified audit opinion with findings in 2021-22. They've maintained, they are also pushing towards even getting a clean audit and all of that. So it does seem like, yes, they still have a lot more work to do, but one could say that it is possible if you're seeing a municipality as this one, trying to do everything to get out of the woods.
I'm sorry for being so candid about that kind of praise, let's call it. That's not praiseworthy. There are only 25 municipalities that have maintained clean audits for the last 3 years. That's where you can give praise. Coming in on those is another 16 or so that have had improvement. So you can start, what's improvement? Improvement to this correct tier of clean audit. If we're not talking about the A+, we can't be praising B's and C's. There's no B and C in loss of public revenues, in failure to account for public revenues, in failure to deliver service delivery, and in non-complying with the law. There's no B and C. So those we just mentioned now as an example, unqualified. Well, unqualified still has findings. Qualified has more findings. Adverse has more findings. And disclaimed is just ridiculous. So we can't be giving these tiers, the B's and the C's, some kind of score. You only have one answer in good governance, a clean audit. There's no place for a B and a C.
Peter, it speaks about, as you say, a change in the fundamentals. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. And I do hope those who need to hear these conversations are certainly listening. That was Dr. Peter Goss, the PhD corporate governance expert.